Greetings to you all. And of course, I do welcome you to this broadcast. It's always a distinct honor and a privilege to be before people who are interested in justice and in law and order. I'm seeking to have our brother join us tonight. Just give me a second. Where can I find him? Greetings to you all. Permit me to see if I can get this thing sorted out. Just a second. We should be back. Tell me if you hear me clearly, you see me clearly, please, on both YouTube and on Facebook. It's clear? We celebrated yesterday the fact that Adriana's body was sent to the USA. And it was really an exciting occasion for us. Waiting for my brother to join me. It was a wonderful experience to know that finally there could be some hope in reference to Adriana being, or the investigation into her murder. Somebody says in and out on their end. All right, tell me if you hear me clearly and you see me clearly, please. I can see that the stream is beginning to make itself a fool, but let's see how this works. I don't normally wait for broadcasts to build and numbers and so on, but as I said, I'm waiting for my brother to join me in studio. I don't know what's happening. Maybe he clicked on the wrong link or something. Um, Permit me to see what I can do. All right, I'm trying to get things sorted out here. It's good. So when Adriana's body is supposed to be examined by independent forensic experts in the United States of America, after over 1 month, the Guyana police force decided that they have a report to give to us. They decided that this is the perfect time. Remember, Anil said that given the length of time the body would have been kept for, it, some expert told him that she could have lost forensic value. Then we have a case now where once Adriana's body was transported to the USA, and they know that these independent medical examiners would take their time, they decided that this is the perfect time to release the report. Because they were singing the song before that we would only accept one outcome, and that it doesn't matter what they say, we will only be trying to accept one outcome. Somebody's asking why they cannot share the broadcast. I really don't know what's happening. So I want to read for you all what these intelligent creatures would have said. And once I read it, you judge for yourselves. Once you would have read it, take the time to judge for yourselves. Police press release. Again, this is not Clifton Hicking. Hicking isn't sitting before a camera. Hicking is not engaging anybody. Hicking is not fielding questions from the media or from the press, not the media, the press. Hicking has not decided that he's going to sit with Blanham and speak to the press. No. Hicking will leave that for Jagdi on Thursday because Jagdi has a lot to speak about. Interesting. I don't know why he hasn't done a press conference today after Azuddin said he's in the race for the presidency. But police press release. Pathologists who conducted an autopsy find no signs of foul play in drowning of 11-year-old Adriana Young. Final postmortem report submitted to police. The Ghana Police Force wishes to confirm that the death of Adriana Young has been officially ruled a drowning with no signs of foul play. Now let me put this up here for y'all, please, while I read. It's been officially ruled a drowning. I'll take my image off. With no sign of foul play. According to the final postmortem report submitted today by the three internationally renowned, you see how they've put it? Three internationally renowned pathologists. So it would just be three pathologists. They have to add some spice to this. Three internationally renowned pathologists. To investigators. Young's body was discovered on April 24, 2025, in the swimming pool of the Doubleday International Hotel. The certified findings from the autopsy confirmed that her death was consistent with drowning, and no evidence of trauma, assault, or any other criminal activity was found. That's just from looking at the body now. Not looking at the pool, not looking at this image, not looking at the video. They just concluded that based on what they did in an autopsy, there was no sign, no criminal activity. Moreover, the above findings support an early report submitted by Mr. Leonard McCoshen, retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police investigator. who concluded that there is no evidence of foul play by persons named or unnamed during the investigation. Adriana, a female of mixed ancestry, was reportedly last seen by her grandmother at approximately 1 o'clock, 1:01 hours, 1301 hours, on April 23rd, 2025, in the hotel swimming pool. Her body was found floating in the swimming pool the following morning. Upon learning of the incident, the Ghana Police Force launched a thorough investigation. The child's family raised several concerns, citing her ability to swim and alleging the possibility of sexual assault, forced drowning elsewhere, and ritualistic activity. These concerns were taken seriously and fully explored in collaboration with forensic experts. Really. A comprehensive postmortem examination including toxicology and DNA testing was carried out. Key findings include, listen to this, no sign of acute injury or trauma were present. Toxicology results showed ethanol levels consistent with postmortem decomposition. Sexual assault kit and DNA analysis for potential suspects were negative. So double A owner, his DNA was taken, negative. No suspicious activity. There was no evidence of restraint. So if you hold her clothes and push her underwater, they could tell she wasn't restrained in any way. If you held her clothing and pushed her underwater, held her submerged, or put her face down in water, and she drowned, you wouldn't see that any evidence of that unless you find her immediately. But they're saying there was no evidence of restraint, no struggle, removal, watch this, the finale's part, and return of the body. So they're saying that Adriana was in this pool all of the time. Let's just get this clear. The pathologist concluded that Adriana Young drowned, likely sank to the bottom of the pool, the same pool here, and later surfaced due to natural decomposition processes common in tropical climates. The detectives are currently preparing the investigative case file for submission to the Director of Public Prosecution for perusal and legal opinion. There's nothing legal opinion, no further legal opinion to be had. You said she drowned naturally. Nothing happened. The Guyana Police Force extends heartfelt condolences to the Young family and remains committed to transparency and justice. The Guyana Police Force remains committed to transparency and justice. The Guyana Police Force remains committed to transparency and justice. Will y'all believe that? Can you believe what you're hearing? That the Guyana Police Force remains committed to transparency and justice. When Clifton Hicken cannot sit before the press to say one word or answer a question, when these people have the nerve to tell us that under normal circumstances, people would testify to having searched a pool on numerous, not one occasion, on numerous occasions. I'm so happy if an announced elections on the 1st of September because I want to see the kind of people we have in our country and what you would vote for. Now, you see, the PPP side is you have this report out here so they can campaign trying to appear to be free of any wrongdoing. But it makes it worse for y'all. Let me tell you how it makes it 10 times worse for y'all because we have eyes and we can see. We have ears and we could hear. And we have phones that we could follow. Repeatedly, people searched the pool on more than one occasion. They came up empty handed. They were in the pool searching. And the police tells us that their hands are clean in this situation. Well, let me help you out, officers. It would have been easier for you to say that a team of policemen, public spirited policemen who love their job so much, dove into the pool took off their uniform, jumped into the pool, or took off their shirt into the pool and said, okay, we're going to look for this girl because this is serious now. Or you could have said to us that the police instructed Bolanat or Bojanat Bola, Dede, the son, to drain that pool to ensure that nobody's in it. The US, the US, oh, the USA allowed that child's body to go over there. They allowed her parents and others to go over there. You feel USA playing with y'all? You think the USA is going to allow Jagdio knows, I promise y'all tonight, that the writing is on the wall for the PPP in this election right here. Because under normal circumstances, the US would not involve themselves in this to this degree to say, okay, let the body go over there. Because they would not allow her body to leave this country. They would not allow her parents and others to be over there so quickly if they didn't intend to deal with this matter the way it's being dealt with. And the best that y'all could do is to arrive at this. Well, let's see then. Let's see if anybody had anything to say on that day. I tell these videos will haunt y'all until you die.
Them police girl in this pool, boy. The fucking girl they went in there. We went in there just now, boy. What the fuck, boy? That's why they didn't want nobody come in the place. Them didn't want nobody come in the place. What? What? Them police girl in this pool, boy. The fucking girl they went in there. We went in there just now, boy.
Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. You hear the man just said, we went in here just now by. We went in here just now by. We went in, we were in heaven. There we went. We went in hell. In his speech, where did they go? He pointed, we went in here just now by. What does that mean? We went in here just now by. We were just in here. And nobody was in there. And 3 pathologists told y'all that she was in there all along.
Them police girl in this pool, boy. The fucking girl they went in there. We went in there just now, boy. What the fuck, boy?
Does anybody here on this broadcast, do you hear someone saying we went in here just now by? Did you hear somebody say that? Did you hear a young man point or say a young man point and say we went in here just now by? Did you hear that? Yet the untrustworthy plan. Remember they said that they saw Adriana, they have footage. Remember Mandel? That he has footage of Adriana leaving to go somewhere in a car? Oh, the same set. An assistant commissioner said he had footage. Told the lady she could, the mother, you could go home. You could go home, you could go home and sleep. Remember that? This same set of people now said to us today that finally after 6 weeks, about 6 weeks, 5, 6 weeks, we have a report from the 3 internationally renowned pathologists. They're internationally renowned, but they could agree with Caleb that she drowned before. I told you I have all that I need to deal with y'all, all that I need and more.
To Paul, myself, attorney at law Darren Wade, Sir Brian, Amicia, Amika, the grandmother, the whole family. We had a meeting with the three forensic pathologists that the government provided for the family. Now, the moment I walked into that meeting, like I continued to share my views that before even going to the meeting, I knew, like many others, that this young lady was drowned, right? Somebody drowned her, or she, cause of death was drowning. We knew this. The moment the pathologists, they were talking, I interrupted them. Again, the family members can attest to this. Mr. Wade can attest to this also. I said, listen, I need you guys to do two things for me. The first thing you're going to help us with, this is what I want you guys to do, to determine time of death. Now, because of the time, rigor mortis and all these things, they're actually have got no value after so many days. I asked them if they can tell us time of death, not time of death in terms of the hour. If they can tell me if she died the afternoon, the night, or the following morning. I made that quite clear. The doctors informed me that based on the time, it's a bit important. I asked them, I said to them, now, when we go in and we find water in her lungs, those are my exact words. When we go in and we find water in her lungs, I want you guys to be able to tell me or tell us if this water came from a tap pipe or if this water came from the pool. Will you guys be able to determine this for us? They responded also in a negative. Dr. Paul, myself.
The Guyana police forces in the force, I should say, presented this report to us to say that there were three internationally renowned pathologists who, according to Caleb, agreed before touching the corpse that she drowned. Y'all hear me? Three internationally renowned pathologists could all breach all protocols of pathology and science to say that before we even touch a body, we all agree that she drowned. So let's go in and confirm what we agreed to. We just won't be able to say where the water came from, if it was from a tap or from a tropical mist bottle or diamond mineral bottle. We won't be able to say where the water came from. What we could tell you that is that she drowned. So we're going into there, according to Caleb, we're going into this room and just write the report when you finish that this girl drowned, because we all agree she drowned. And the rogues in the Guyana police force could be used for this foolishness. Frank Anthony said that they gave the body parts, sorry for being grotesque, to a policeman to take it to the USA. Do you remember that? Frank said that the same police force who lied and who stood in front of that hotel to defend Doubleday Hotel's property and protect and prevent the public from finding that girl who was not in the pool. That same set, they took, one of them took the remains, the parts of her body, the forensic samples, took the samples to the USA. Well, Adriana is now in the USA, and y'all could hop, skip, spin, and turn all you want. We will hear from true investigators about what happened. And I don't care how much you tell me about drowning. What you cannot tell me is that, for one, if the child was in the pool, a first class, second class, lower class donkey would know that if she was swimming in here and the owner, son said, check the pool, the grandmother said the first thing that they did was search the pool. There were so many of them that they all got together and they were searching the pool. This is not an Olympic-sized pool, I keep telling you all. This is not a river. In Kokwani, in brown water, boy drowned. The Kokwani, the Barbies River.
not a pool in Blackwater, and people found within 2 hours. They walked stretch across the river and began to comb it, and that river has currents underneath, and they found him within 2 hours. This girl was in a pool according to them, and they couldn't find her for a whole night into the whole next day because we have no sense. So now they're asking for video footage to show people searching the pool because people have so much time to waste that when they're looking frantically for a little child, a missing girl who they know was kidnapped, in their mind, they should have phone showing them searching the pool. When we have the perfect videographer, the one who is always in everything, the pop star videographer, who showed up there.
Management. I said, we're going out with the cameras. There's a female washroom here. There's a bar here. The management explained to me that when you come and if you're going to use the pool, and as you can see, you see the pool here, clear. Like when the family said they went in the pool and check, everybody went in the pool and check. Normally, you ain't got to check if there's a body in this pool. You could see it because the pool is clear. Right? So, obviously the young lady, the 11-year-old who has gone missing from this place is not in this pool. Right? So I walking around, I look in, I talk to management before I talk to the mother and the father to make sure I have an inclusive story. Everybody knows what's going on, why it's going on, and so on. Right? So you got the pool here.
We need video footage of somebody searching the pool. We need video footage of someone searching the pool. For what reason? We have more than enough footage of no one being in the pool. We don't need video footage of someone searching the pool. We have more than enough footage of no one being in it. Yes, people were searching it. Yes, because as I said to you, if I'm looking for my Galaxy Pro earbuds, if I'm looking for these earbuds, they're so important to me, reference to broadcasting and so on. I would look the same place 3, 4, 5 times, hoping that the next time I'll find it. If I'm searching in my bag for this earbud and I check the front pocket and I don't find it, I'll come back and check the front pocket again. Check the front pocket again because somewhere in my mind, I hope that at some point I'll find something as simple as an earbud. You know what I love about this country and this world in general? That there are not many people in it with very short memory. That's what I love about Guyana and the world in general. So with a finale announcing, and I would have gotten that, but I would not disrespect Adriana to go to top of any election right now in reference to the madness he did. But let me talk about this. A finale announcing the 1st of September's election day is a perfect action because the sooner we get rid of y'all and get you out of there, better for us. And you will not just leave because it's incredible to know. It's incredible to know that with all of the video evidence of the child not being in the pool, y'all will come back and tell us that 3 world-renowned pathologists said she drowned and that nobody put her in the pool. How do pathologists arrive at that conclusion? How do pathologists arrive at the conclusion? Hmm. So, so, so once they realize that Adriana, her body landed in the USA and is now going to be examined carefully by a team of persons who have vested interest in knowing exactly what happened, out comes the report. We have a report to give you. The report couldn't be published 1 week after the autopsy. No pathologist, these internationally renowned pathologists, couldn't sit with anybody in the press and say, ask us the questions, we'll explain to you what we saw. Nobody. We can't take the risk. No way. No, sir. Mm-mm. No. Nobody could take that chance. Too risky. Ah, you're a pathologist. Say that is consistent with drowning. 3 international renowned pathologists say when your body looks like that within 20 hours, you drown. 3 international renowned pathologists say that looks as if somebody drowned when the chemical that discolors the skin is so selective, according to what your other Dr. Kalma say. Oh, but they are independent pathologists who are so highly considered and ranked among their peers that none of them could speak to the press up until today. Up until today. But I am so thankful that when y'all are rushing like you're mad because you know now that there'll be an opposite, more 10,000 times likely, there'll be an opposite report to what you're publishing here. You'd want to say, well, we're going by what the pathologist told us, and that's it. Because you're not going to reopen any case. We had 3 internationally renowned pathologists, and they checked all the boxes for us. There's no sexual assault. Worse, they're saying that after 20 hours, of being missing, we could tell you this girl wasn't held down in any body water. And more so, we could tell you that she wasn't put into the pool. None of them fits in the pool. Nobody said we're going to do a reenactment, we're going to have video footage examined. Nothing. They just look at her body on a table, on a gurney, and say, oh, nobody put her in the pool. I am so happy. I am so thankful that Guyanese, as many others, would not easily forget this degree of disrespect that you all want to show us. I am not talking about an election tonight. I'm speaking to a reality. Irfan Ali posting up, being posted around the place, holding his son. You holding on to your boy. Bharat has his 2 daughters. Jenny, you found your way. Let me add you to the stage.
I'm not hearing you. Hold on.
You're here.
What did you
Put
say?
your put your earbuds in. Good. You're live. You're here with me on the broadcast.
Okay, good, right. Okay, good.
The police have issued a statement. I don't know if you saw it.
Who put out the statement?
Okay, wait. The Guyana police force have said. Now, Adriana's body is in the USA, of course.
Yeah.
They're about to perform the autopsy.
Mm-hmm.
And the police have said today, breaking news. They've issued a statement I'll read for you. Breaking news. Pathologists who conducted the autopsy find no signs of foul play in drowning of 11-year-old Adriana Young. They say the Guyana Police Force wishes to confirm that the death of 11-year-old Adriana Young has been officially ruled a drowning with no signs of foul play, according to the final postmortem report submitted by 3, and they were very, very clear on this, internationally renowned pathologists to investigators. So they're saying here that they finally, when Adriana's body is in the USA, and they know that it had to be the US Embassy who had to ensure that the parents and others were allowed to go overseas. They know that now her body is going to be examined by very, very skillful and integral, honest examiners. They suddenly say, hold on, we need to publish a report. Press release. There's not a press conference. There's a press release, not a press conference. Hicken is yet to answer one question, Jenna. And this report states that further, there has been no evidence of her being forced underwater. Let me go further. Moreover, the above findings support an early report submitted by Mr. Leonard McCoshan, retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police investigator. who concluded that there is no evidence of foul play by persons named or unnamed during the investigation. He just came in and disappeared. And they said he concluded. Again, no, the lawyer didn't see this report, but he made a conclusion. They said that, they said, Jenna, there's no sign of acute injury or trauma. Toxicology reports show that ethanol levels were consistent with post-mortem decomposition. Sexual assault kit and DNA analysis for potential suspects were negative. So Son, the owner, he had no sexual interaction with the girl. Skin and airway changes were in line with prolonged submersion. They're saying this, Jenna, look on the screen, that what you see in her skin, that's in line with prolonged submersion. Selective. This is in line with prolonged submersion. The police have the nerve to tell us this. The pathologist concluded that Adriana Young drowned, likely sank to the bottom of the pool, and later surfaced due to natural decomposition processes common in tropical climates. She could surface within 20 hours after person searching the whole pool couldn't find her. The detectives are currently preparing the file for the DPP, and Ali Hack is going to give us the verdict. Your thoughts, Brother Jenna? I'm not talking about election tonight. I'm not going down what Ali did because this, to me, warrants international attention. Welcome, brother.
Wow, that's a shock. What do you think? I can't believe them saying this. You see, the whole thing is a cover-up. In fact, it's a further cover-up of what they been trying to do, and they seem to think that they can get away with it. I wrote an article this morning in relation to the same matter, and they seem to want to think that people are just going to go away and don't, say or do anything about it. But they would be very, very surprised that this election that they have called is not going to go along very well for them. I can't
It can't go down well
understand.
for them, Jenna.
I can't understand the level of insensitivity. How could your police make such a statement when there's so much there? You see, they have breached, in my view, they have breached all the regulations in this country. Because when somebody dies of mysterious circumstances, you're supposed
Coroner's inquest.
to carry out a coroner's inquest, independent of the police and the state. And that has to be the coroner has to be someone who's highly qualified to carry out such an investigation. And that has not been done. So constitutionally, we are out of order. And
So
then
is there not a magistrate court in Lenora, brother? Is there a
yes,
magistrate court in Lenora? Now,
we have a state court next to the
according to
police
our
station.
law, okay, so according to our law, our constitution, the coroner shall be the magistrate in that
Yeah,
district. That's the law. So if we
yeah.
have a magistrate, how could they bypass? I have not heard one word about the magistrate in this situation. As you're rightly saying, nothing about the coroner's inquest. Instead, the police decided they're going to deal with this matter. And then they're saying, well, brother, my brother Jenna, this is unimaginable for me as a Guyanese person to know that we could see so many things so clearly. Let me play this video for you because you just joined us. Let me play this video for you. I cannot understand who these people have to protect by going to this extent. This has to be a real big boy. This is no small boy in the PPP here. Listen to this, brother.
Them police girl in this pool, boy. The fucking girl they went in there. We went in there just now, boy. What the fuck, boy? That's why they didn't want nobody come in the place. Them didn't want nobody come in the place. What?
So we heard it. A young man just said that we just went in Hayby, went into the pool, came up empty handed. Vinny Posada was on the road. The police were there. The people were moving away from the hotel. A truck pulled up, parked, blocking the view to that stairwell. It's on video. We have videos of all this. And then with the policemen in there, somebody finally went back and an alarm was raised. And that's where they found her just by the stairs by the ladder of the pool. Brother Jenna, Brother Jenna,
Yeah.
help us here. What is becoming of our nation's police officers? I'm going beyond Jagdeo now. I'm beyond Barra Jagdeo. What has become of this Ghana police force?
I remember, and I reminded a few people today when I was on during the Granger period of governance. I had said that the Guyana police is among the most corrupt police force in the world. And Hamilton Green, the former prime minister of this country, tried to force me to apologize for what I said. It went on for a couple of minutes trying to get me to apologize what I said about the Guyana police force. Even then, under the Granger administration, they were corrupt, found to be corrupt, and nothing fundamentally was done to reform the police force. And so it went on like that until Sharma said, I am going to apologize for him. That is me. And I said, Mr. Sharma, you can't do that. I said it. So if I want to apologize, I should apologize, not you.
Right.
So I am not surprised about these things. Even myself, I have a number of cases personally where the police have not acted. And these are not somebody who's been killed or I kill anybody or anything like that. These are matters that could be dealt with by the police. So if a public figure like I or you, and I remember your case with those dogs
Yeah.
and what you went through, that experience, I think these things help us to understand the feeling of ordinary people, what they're going through, because they um, they make a report. The police are supposed to act on the what is called SOP, Standard
Yes.
Operational Procedure, where somebody makes a report, is written in the book, the person signs the statement. Then the police is supposed, the sergeant of the station is supposed to act to send the police to the relevant places where this incident or whatever was occurring. And in many cases, the police don't go there because somebody somebody who's been accused of whatever the crime or whatever incident might be, they bribe the police. So the police never appear to the victim's home to investigate anything. This has been happening for years. And nobody's taken any notice of this. So the fact of the matter is, and you should know this too, people do not go to the police station to report things that are happening. They don't, because the police are not acting. And this is not this thing has been going on for decades. Look, today we had a discussion about the role of the police. People are able to get to go and buy a book, a driving license, without having a car, having driven a car before, or having gone through the codes of the traffic codes. So if that is happening, those kind of things are happening. The police are still collecting bribe on the road, despite the fact that they're supposed to have that
Body camera, body cam.
body camera. Yes, a number of people tell us that they take off the camera and they collect the money. Now that does not happen in the United Kingdom or Canada or those countries because if the policeman takes off the camera at any stage and he's being checked, he will be dismissed and incarcerated. The problem we have in this country, as long as we have politicians politicizing every aspect of our society, you're not going to get justice in this country. Everything in this country, every aspect of life is politicized. You have to know somebody at the political level to get something simply done. So the country has been a dictatorship for a very long time. You can have a good dictator and a bad dictator. You know what I mean? And
Right,
I'm
right. Because
yeah,
when we examine the most simple of um images. Look at this one, for example. Adriana's legs are apart, at least by 2 or so feet in the water. Her legs are apart. Now, if they claim that she disappeared, she was in this pool all along, according to what the police now want to say, they want to sing Ali song, of course, then there is absolutely no way. There is no way that her legs could be like that. And then, when the father dove into the pool and took her out, her legs are closed. This is impossible. It's not difficult. Look at this. This would never happen. It means that rigor mortis had not yet set in, so her hip flexors are not stiff. How could the police want to tell me that three internationally renowned pathologists all agreed that this what they're seeing here? If you look at one photograph as I just showed you, I showed a doctor this, and the doctor said this is impossible. You cannot have hip flexion if you have been drowned for 20 hours. You'll be as stiff
that's
as a rock.
not only that, the body would have been swollen.
Oh,
The
come on,
body would have
man.
body would have been swollen. So and the body would have floated normally when somebody is drowned. The body floats
You
up.
have to first decompose.
Yes,
Decomposition has to kick in. Gases have to fill your cavities, and that
yes,
makes you light enough to float. And you're telling us that these pathologists, and you're a journalist, Jenna, so you can maybe speak to this. You function in the press, not media, social media environment. And as one who understands and would have understood the press, let's say these three pathologists would have performed the autopsy that day. They were expected to sit before the press to answer questions. That's what Caleb said. In that environment where you ask these pathologists questions, as a journalist, do you have the liberty to ask questions in reference to probing deeply for answers? Like, okay, why does her hand look like this? Why does the face look like this? Would you as a journalist have the liberty to ask pathologists those kinds of questions?
exactly. Because it's an investigation. Because you have to, for you to write a report or to televise something that is a press conference, you have
As
to
a
have the
journalist, right?
details. Yeah, you have to have, yes, you have to
Right.
ask the details of it. There's a whole host of information that the public has seen. Because what we basically do are rehearsing what other people have actually produced precisely in great detail, sequentially. What happened, when it happened, minute for minute, hour for hour. And that com- compilation of facts by people, by what I would say, not an official investigation, but people doing their own investigation and coming up with their own answers, including ex detective policemen who have actually gone through that thing and concluded that this is a criminal act, that the girl was killed,
Wow.
maliciously killed, murdered, and to use the phrase. And what needs to happen. You see, I've repeated this over and over again, even the very basic thing that the, the public swimming pool has certain basic requirements. That
Right.
is to say that For those who haven't heard us before, I need to let them know this. When you apply to the housing department to actually build a swimming pool, there's certain laid down requirements, as you know, as a construction engineer, that you have to have you have to fulfill certain requirements when building a house. The same thing applies. Worse yet applies. The restrictions are even worse for a swimming pool because it has to meet these international standards.
Yeah.
So when you are putting water in the pool, you should be able to get the water out as quickly as possible. So if you go through this whole process systematically, you will find that the owner of the hotel have breached standard regulation and he should be in charge already for negligence, for
Criminal
not,
negligence is called. Yeah.
yes, criminal negligence. He should have been charged and he should have been put in front of court already and probably be imprisoned by now, sentenced for because it's a criminal act. He's responsible for a hotel where a swimming pool where somebody who children you're supposed to even have a separation where children are not to go to the where adults are supposed to be. I've been to swimming pools in England all the time. I used to take my children, so I know how it operates. When you go there into the building, you have to register. You just don't walk into the swimming pool and go and bathe. No, you don't do that. It's not like dropping into a trench. You know what I
Right.
mean? Right. You have when you go into the building where the swimming pool is, they take your details, and you have to pay too. You take your details to get and all the records and everything. If you have a card or whatever, if you haven't got a card and you're paying for the first time, they also still take your name and your details. And when you go there, you have to go and then change your clothes. You can't go into a swimming pool with your pants or your short. There are regulations and there are reasons for that. We are a very backward state, and we have to accept that because those who are ruling us are also backward. These are low life people who have no understanding of standard because they were brought up in a low life manner. That is why they behave the way they behave. We
This
have
is
people who are running us who are highly uncultured, highly uncultured.
that's true. That's
You see
true.
how they behave. Totally, absolutely corrupt and immoral society that we
They
have
raise like
really
wild
got.
hogs. Exactly. And you know, my brother, when we examine this, then that's why I ask you as one who is a trained, certified journalist.
Yes, I was
Because
studied the
I knew
London
the
School of
danger.
Journalism.
Please say it exactly. The danger that they face is that journalists, indeed, like Adam Harris and those, would have asked very, very critical questions that they don't want to answer. Nazima
Why?
Raghavir and these people would have them on the back foot.
Yes, why you think Jagdeo's excuses for the pathologists not having a press conference, but that they were afraid? How could you be afraid? You're not afraid.
Come on.
You're not afraid to come into the country. You can't. You have so much policemen that are protecting all of you all, or anywhere you go.
Right.
Any public meeting, Jagdeo, or any one of them have their policemen. And then when you ask them questions, the policemen come at the back of you to intimidate
Try
you.
to stop you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Look, let me say the only thing can answer this question is the election on the 1st of December of September. This
Yeah.
is the only answer to this, all this nonsense that is going on in this country. And those who are listening, and those who are going to hear what we say later on, don't come and complain to us because if you ever re-elect these cabal that is
Oh my
running this
Lord.
criminal that are running this country, you're going to have 10 times what you're having now. So you better be warned that
It
whatever
is.
you
And
do,
brother, if we think about this carefully, the PPP, they know that an autopsy will be performed on Adriana on a body maybe today or tomorrow.
if it hasn't been done so already. They know that a report will come out that contradicts what they've said here. These people are so dangerous that they have decided to publish this or instructed the King River to put this out now, put this out right now, because it maintains a narrative. When they do that, and there's a different report coming from the USA, they know that they pay lobbyists hundreds of thousands, near to millions of US dollars per
Millions
year
of
from
dollars.
our money. Our
Yes,
money.
yes,
They pay. I know what I see. They pay these people from our money to lobby for them, and they have some degree of hope that this time is going to work where they can say, look, the pathologist told us this, and now we have something contrary. But I don't believe that will work, General, because the
yes.
Guyanese people are enraged about this Adriana situation. Like, Jack didn't understand that yet. Guyanese are livid about what they did to this little girl, including their supporters. They are
Exactly.
mad. And this is going to put the nail in the coffin for them. Because I know Guyanese, I know us. We Guyanese, not ethnically speaking, we Guyanese, we have a culture among us. And you don't do this to girl trying to get away with it under any circumstance. They would have been better off having this man in handcuffs saying you did this to this child. Answer these questions now. Before you speak, General, let me say further. The police had the nerve to tell us. The police who have cameras monitoring all around Georgetown, country, what's the name from AFC? What's the name? Ramjitan, when he was Home Affairs Minister. Cameras all around the place. They accept this man telling them that the cameras are being serviced. How do you service surveillance cameras? Brother Junior, you don't. Modern cameras are not serviced. You wipe the screen, the lens, and that's it. You don't service them. He didn't say that that the recorder was being serviced or the box is being serviced. You don't service these cameras that are just stick on a wall somewhere. Oh, come on, man. And police accept that? You muted, brother. Just unmute for me.
But the bus driver was saying to me that the camera that they said, you remember they said that the girl was was picked up by a vehicle, a car, and
Hmm.
they said that where that car was. We haven't heard so far whether the gentleman who they had held up and arrested, whether he actually said he was in that compound. Did you ever hear him say that?
Wow.
I think he said he was nowhere around that area. He didn't leave. He didn't come to
Nowhere.
this area.
Exactly. Nowhere
So
close.
when Jagdeo is the one who challenged them, the police, and said, if you're saying that this child was taken away by a particular car, registration, color, name the person, all of that,
Show us the video.
show us the video. That was very good what he said. I was very pleased. I think he was trying to distance himself from Ali because Ali is more or less involved politically to cover up this matter more than anything else. That is why he went quietly and gave them $2 million because he hoped or he thought that the family will accept it quietly and quiet the matter. But even if the family had wanted to do that, the people were enraged. That is why I wrote an article today and said to the aunt of the child, I had spoken to her and said, listen, we are 100% in support of the campaign for justice for Adriana, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who suffer the same fate and they didn't get the kind of publicity that Adriana is getting. So
Yeah.
we need to bring all those families together and have a national campaign for justice for all these families.
Yes.
Let me put it on record. One of my relatives near the neighboring village, Ruby, was killed and his body dumped into young boy at 18 years, dumped into that same pool And if you would recall, nothing happened until 2016 when the Granger administration came to power. This same hotel owner, if you remember, was arrested,
On trial,
charged,
yes.
and put in prison. And when this administration came to power, they released him.
Wow.
So there has to be a political connection, and I did say that in my article today. There has to be a political reason why, and I've said it. Irfan Ali, not Jagdeo, Irfan was the chairperson of the Region 3 PPP party. And these guys, this guy's uncle, Adunat Bola, who I taught in school, secondary school, has been the chairperson of the People's Progressive Party branch in the neighboring village, Vorganugan. And he'd been there for more than 20 years as chairperson. He is also, and I repeat it for those who didn't hear it, he is also currently the chairperson of the NDC, the Neighborhood Democratic Council of the Greenwich Park, Wagonugan NDC. And he's been there for more than 20 years. So he is particularly up in the sky with the PPP echelons, particularly Irfan Ali. So Irfan has the audacity to take on, and so arrogant he was when he was asked by journalists when he attended some event, and he said that how he couldn't even stand up to talk to the journalist. So arrogant he is
Yes.
to
Yes.
say that he did what he had to do. What did he have to do? He brought these pathologists, and we ought to know as Guyanese how much money. That is why I'm
That's
annoyed with
right.
the opposition.
Yes.
That's why I'm annoyed with the opposition leader, because the opposition leader is supposed to write to the president, write to him, and
Disclosure.
ask him
Exactly.
how much money he's supposed to, under the Freedom of Information Act, to
Right.
put the guy who is the Commissioner of Freedom
Charles
of
Ramsden.
Information,
Charles Ramsden Sr.
Charles Ramsden Sr., we need to know officially how much money was paid to these pathologists. Let me explain something to show the corruption of this regime. You would recall that during the COVID-19 period, there's this Middle Eastern guy who came and he bought
Mm-hmm.
vaccine from the Russians for $2 billion.
Billion.
$2 billion.
Twice as much. Yes.
Right. And then when there was a, a what you call an outrage that we made about why they have to spend so much money on vaccine, because we were against the vaccines in any case, they went back to the same, and Frank Anthony, the Minister of Health, went back to the same company, the same people, bought the same amount of vaccine, the same kind of vaccine for $1 billion. So what did they do with that $2 million?
Extra. Right.
What did they do with that $1 million if they didn't share it among themselves? You see, they leave themselves open for suspicion, for allegations, and for all kinds of skullduggery in the minds of people, and they think that people are stupid. That is the contempt they have
Yeah.
shown for the Guyanese people. Utter contempt.
So, yes, because you're saying, just to recap for those who are hearing, that you have a relative, the 18-year-old young man, I think he was a mechanic, who was in the same pool, discovered. The pathologist said that he hit his head and drowned. He hit
And
his head in a whole
he
pool.
he was badly beaten.
Exactly.
He showed
Because go
he
ahead.
showed he showed violence on his body. and that is why this guy was charged, because they found that their excuse for saying that he was drunk was not credible. That's why he was charged.
Wow.
That's why he was put in prison.
Wow.
It's one of the most shameful cover up of modern times in this country. But I am not
So we
surprised
have a
because
young
if the
man and
man,
now Adriana.
right, and there were other people who claim went through that same sort of
Then, as you were saying, there should be a grand rallying of those uh, who suffered in this way. They should
I'm
get together and stand publicly because standing
I
independently may not be the better thing to do. So we need to try to organize that.
I have said publicly in my article that I wrote, and I spoke to the relatives of Adriana, and they have agreed in principle that would be a good idea, and we're
Yeah,
supposed to meet and talk about it, of broadening the campaign. It has to be
yeah,
a campaign, a national
must.
campaign, so that we can, so that grieving relatives like my relatives and myself need to be able to get justice, because we feel the pain just like how they feel the pain for Adriana. We feel the pain equally with them, and we are every step of the way for them to get justice and to get the kind of support that is necessary to change
I agree.
the type of society that we have. And I'm saying this to you now. We are we are experiencing a very vicious dictatorship, and that the dictatorship is headed by Mr. Jagdeo, no other than
This is
Mr. Jagdeo.
yeah, because this is the limit for me, brother Jenna. When it can be so obvious. I mean, you don't have to try to wonder too much. As I said, and just for maybe to show these images, you see the child's leg closed when she's on the pool deck. If she
Yeah,
drowned for so long, her feet are
you
closed.
can clearly
Right.
see that the knee
Look at her in the
is
pool.
yes, the knee
Her
is
knees are
damaged.
apart.
Yes.
So there's no way that you can even remotely suggest as a pathologist that this child died 20 hours ago. If you just look at two images, it would have
See,
been if she
after
died at around for me about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
brother, let me say this to you. This kind of behavior will continue in this country as long as we have this type of people who are ruling this country. And we have to come to that conclusion.
I agree with you.
Adriana is perhaps a blessing in disguise in the sense that she has brought together so many people, young people of all races, gender, and and
Yeah,
and
yeah. Even religious
and,
beliefs.
and religious belief. And I mean, there's a sad story, but like everything else, she's a martyr.
Yeah,
I think so. She's a martyr because
yeah.
martyrs are people who make changes in society. And I think I don't believe in statues, but I think something like that needs to be established, and
Well, yeah.
that hotel should never exist again.
Never again.
Never
And
exist again.
I would like to suggest, from the movement perspective, that as the leader, I asked before that the school she attended should be renamed, not Parika Primary should be renamed Adriana Young Primary School.
Yeah, I heard you
There
said that
should
already.
be, there should be an Adriana Young Act in law for us to not see this nonsense again for the Guyana Police Force because this is ridiculous and it's atrocious. You know, it's even worse, Brother Jenna, and I've been saying this quite often for people to hear me, and I hope that they do. Now that the Guyana Police Force has issued this official report, you know what's going to happen? That boy Bola now has the right to sue the Guyana Police Force, to sue the Guyana Fire Service, to sue Anil, and say, listen, you all failed to protect me. He can now file for an insurance claim, and he can earn over $1 billion easily from all the parties he brings to the court. That's what they're doing. That's the kind of disrespect that can happen to us in this country. And the taxpayers' money would have to be, of course, spent on the matter. It's this serious. Because if they said that this was an accidental drowning and all those damages he suffered, then he has to sue somebody. And he'd be advised to do so if I'm not mistaken. Additionally, brother,
I don't think
we
he
could
has
be
a case,
called
but
terrorists.
brother, I don't think he has a case. But because all the reports and evidence have shown that the fire started in the building. So he hasn't got a legs to stand on. Where was he when the fire started in the building? He was in the
He can
building.
argue that the police, remember, brother, remember that the policemen were upstairs. So that's why I said he considered the Guyana police force. Because it's a whole club. So they can agree, okay, listen, I'll sue y'all, win a case of 200, $300 million, you get $10 million. And they'll accept it readily.
So
This is a dangerous game.
no, but when the police say that they were instructed to set the fire.
No, 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 no. They won't say that one. But I'm saying, you see, his argument to be, Janet, that his property should have been protected by law enforcement. That would be his argument. I love law and I know exactly the people process. His argument, especially if he's advised to do it. Remember, there is also, in my view, corruption in the judiciary. That's my view. Because some of the most simple things I don't see how some magistrates can rule. For example, how can you rule that this nurse girl who said what she said is a terrorist, and she should be subjected to being incarcerated for this long? This is crazy, but it happens. They were saying a man. Oh, that's not a good one. The guy, this guy. I just want to show how corrupt our country is. This fella here. I'll have to read it for you.
Randy,
I
Randy,
I can't
Randy,
believe it. Randy Jaglio.
that's your relative maybe.
Randy. Oh my God. I wouldn't doubt. Randy Jaglio, the 39-year-old businessman from Alexander Village, appeared at Demerara Magistrate Court, where the
Diamond.
charge was Diamond, sorry, Magistrate Court, where the charge was read to him. He was not required to plead. Was the charge? He was charged for inciting persons to commit treason. Now, I am at a loss. I'm at a loss. Let me take his image off. Bring him
What
back
did
on
he do?
stage.
What did he say?
He's the man who said to leave the Venezuela. He has his business, and on displayed in front of business was a map excluding Essequibo, a one Guyana map without Essequibo being present. And the fella said, "Leave the people alone. What else y'all effing want? Get them Essequibo is due on." That's what he said. Now I don't know which crime in our law book speaks to inciting or encouraging people to commit treason. I thought you commit treason or don't commit treason. You have
Treason
to
is
face it with Burnham.
the Constitution. Say I can find it for you. I have a copy of the
It's a
Constitution
crime
here.
against the state to betray the state, as far as I'm aware.
No,
More or less seeking to overthrow some rulership or
the, tr-
something.
yes, the treason is about a conspiracy, to put it in legal terms, to organize the conspiracy to overthrow forcefully the government in office. That's what I was charged for. You understand? That's what I was, and a number of other people after us was charged for treason, that we were organizing to overthrow the government by force. Now, he has the right to say whether he thinks that dispute should be in the favor of Venezuela or not. It just is his views and opinion. I don't see any wrong. Why should he
But
be charged for that?
it's on the $1,000 store. He had a map on his
Mhm.
store displaying Venezuela essentially owning Essequibo because it was just Demerara and Babis left. That to me is a treasonous act because as a Guyanese, you're not allowed to do that at any time. That is
I
to display that map and have it displayed is troublesome.
Did you know that Mr. Janarayan Singh had written a book on this Venezuelan thing, and that disputes that Venezuela had a number of good reasons to make that claim.
Again,
I am neither here nor there. My position on this whole question of
right,
borders,
right. Yeah,
that
and that's what I'm saying that
we shouldn't be having any borders in any case. We didn't create those borders. We must remove them.
the
But
UN
it can
did.
problem. Pardon me? Like what the
I'm saying the United Nations has done that.
European Union. where
Your
people can
opinion, right?
travel in the European countries without any visa. Eastern European and Western European can travel across the border. In fact, what is called the Benelux countries. When I was living in Holland, you travel without any documented papers through from Holland to Luxembourg and to Belgium without any documents. They were regarded as one country, and you can stay and
Yeah.
live in those countries and work and so on. So they have removed all their borders. Look, up to today, how backward these Caribbean countries are, we have what is called the Chaguaramas Agreement,
Mm-hmm.
which talks about the free movement of labor and capital. And how many
Right.
years now since, Mr. Burnham? More than 40 years that we cannot, people cannot travel freely from Guyana. You got to go through the immigration authorities, and the Trinidadian authorities particularly harass Guyanese going there. I remember Charandas and Priya Manishan's sister, who both of them were lawyers, recently, not very long ago, went to Trinidad. They were incarcerated and were questioned about them with their motive of coming to Trinidad. Could you believe that?
Wow.
This is a
Interesting.
state. I mean, you ask yourself the question overall: what has the PPP administration, since they came to office in 2020? Let's do an analysis because, very briefly, this is the election year. We have 3 months before the election. We've got to do an analysis to find out what have they done, how much money that they were spending, and what did they achieve with it. As far as I know, the only visible thing that they have done is that the Marara Bridge. And in fact, by the way, the Chinese have actually lent them money to build that bridge. I don't know if you know that.
Wow.
So, so what are they? Not only that they lend them money, but they're building the bridge with their money.
Obviously. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so, so apart from that bridge, they're building roads. They're not building new roads. They build the road around the Lagrange area where the when you come out of the Demerara Harbor Bridge, you go down to West Coast and to Reedy Hoop. But apart from those minor roads, what else have they built?
Yeah.
Where they're spending this hundreds of billions of dollars. The budget, by the way, is $1 trillion, 1 point something $1 trillion this last budget. And people are not paying attention to that. What are they doing with the money? They have gone back to the parliament and borrow another couple $1 billion in a supplementary budget recently before.
Yeah. Now 60 billion almost he wants.
You were talking of the uh, um, proclamation of the constitution of the house before the election date has been called. Remember you said that earlier?
Yes.
Have we exhausted this Itirana thing? I think I think we
No,
should
no. You see, we'll have another broadcast specifically to deal with that, Jenna. But tonight, as I said, there has to be a very, very keen focus on this because it is a dangerous situation we're in right now. For me, there should be another massive protest across this country, or many, because this is disrespectful to say the least. The
I think
timing of it,
go ahead.
the timing of it is really, really, really strange. Can you hear me again? Okay.
I
And
can hear.
okay, so we have now in the appellate court, because this is a whole net, a web. Ali just decide, okay, we'll appoint 5 more judges to the appellate court. Now, when is the last time have you seen, Jenna? You're older than me. When have you seen a leader called the president appoint 5 justices at one time to the appellate court? One time, one sweep, boom. 3 months before he decide elections to be held. Now with Adriana case,
To whom do we appeal?
Appealing to PPP judges, like what Trump did in America.
Oh boy, the
Look,
script is so well written. We could
look.
see
Let me
straight
tell
to
you,
it.
we're coming back and back again to the election. Unless you get these kind of people out of office and you elect people who are capable of reforming the country's constitution and remove the kind of dictatorial powers. It's unfortunate that Burnham has given us that type of a constitution because I believe he wanted to have those powers to push a number of things progressively,
Correct. I believe so.
developmentally, Dragon 2. But they then should have agreed to amend the constitution and don't give powers to the powers that the
Yeah.
president has, the powers.
Yeah.
I was going through this constitution, which I have here, Guyana Constitution, and you see the powers that the president has, the president of this country has. By the president of this country is constitutionally a dictator,
That's
constitutionally,
right.
because if the president can do no wrong, just like the United States of America. So what they have done, what they say that this guy who write up this constitution, what's his name, Dr. Shahabuddin, I think he was a copycat because he just bring together things that from America. The American Constitution, I don't know if you ever seen it. It's about 15 or 20 pages,
Very short. Yeah.
very short
Very brief.
Constitution, right? But what it contains, has a lot of rights for the American people that we don't have here. Our constitution, and in fact, this constitution is contradicting itself because
In many ways.
on one hand, it gives rights to Guyanese people, and on the other hand, it takes it away by making a person a king, that he
Right.
can do whoever,
Executive
whatever.
president.
Yes. So all of that needs to be removed. We need to go back to the Trinidad constitution with our PR system, where the prime minister comes to the parliament and can be
Yes.
questioned. And then
Exactly.
you have a ceremonial president like what we had during the Burnham period prior to Guyana's independent Republican status, where the president is a ceremonial person and the prime minister is accountable to the parliament, the highest body of the land. We
Yeah.
need to come back.
I
If we're talking about democracy, we need to be able to do that.
I agree, brother. We have to restore it, and so we'll have another show tomorrow evening. I would, and of course, as I said, the road to elections 2025 is an easy one. In this context, the PPP continue to do more and more to destroy their opportunity. More than that, there would have to be, as the topic would have said, we talk about that tomorrow, a PPP GECOM coalition, and you're beginning to see it. The only way they stand a chance of being a minority government, they wouldn't win, but being a minority government in the context of how things would function, would be if they coalesce with GECOM. And they've begun to do that in reference to the chair, the commissioners on the PPP side. Something is wrong because the most simple thing they kind of seem to get right. When the suggestion I think is made for them, I have to go into this meeting now, but what lies ahead of us as Guyanese people, but not to lose sight of this gross exhibition of disrespect to us in reference to the Adriana situation. This is what the Guyana police force has done, of course, being controlled by this cabal, is unforgivable. Believe me, I never thought that they could be so disrespectful. I mean, I know they're bad, but to be so blind and so blinded, this has to be the work of the divine Almighty Yahweh. to put them in such a place whereby they can't even think straight because nobody in their right mind do something so stupid. There's too much video evidence. There's too many pieces right before our eyes. That if the FBI sits for 5 minutes and look at these footages that we have, they'll jail the whole cabal because this is too obvious.
What needs to happen, brother, is that we have enough funds from this campaign, and we have to have a series before we close this program. We have to officially announce that we need to set up a national campaign for all those people whose relatives have been criminally murdered by the state, and we are calling on them on this program for
I
them
agree.
to contact us, contact I or you, so that we can have their names listed and as sponsors of this campaign and get them to lead the campaign, and we in the background help them as much as we can with lawyers, international lawyers, so that they can then we have a team of lawyers internationally. We raise the funds to pay these international lawyers. The only lawyer that has come forward, and you see the state of the legal and judicial system, that only Dexter Todd, is
That's
it
a
Dexter
thought.
Todd,
Yes.
came
Yes.
forward and is, I mean, ferociously presenting this case. Apart from this other young man, what's his name?
Darren Wade.
Darren Wade, who was
Yeah.
brave, but he's inexperienced. But he still give him credit for the fact that he
Yes, definitely so. Yes.
taken up the case and he has been always consistent on the basis of fighting for justice for ordinary people. So we need to be able to get this campaign up and running. And I will do my best to get in contact with the relatives again, get their agreement, the written agreement for us to actually broaden the campaign to make Adriana the symbol of justice. A photograph will be there as it at the
Yes,
moment,
correct.
and we're not going to take away anything out of it, but we will let them lend their sympathy and support for lots of
I
other
agree.
relatives and victims. We must list what we got to do, brother. Let's have a special program to let these people come
Yes.
forward and list all the people who they feel were murdered or killed by the state, by the police, or whatever, going back for 10, 15, 20 years. There are people who have been thrown on the women who've been thrown outside of the
That's
buses
right.
and they've been
Never
killed and
solved.
so on. All of that we need to bring. And we need to bring justice. Somebody said this morning on one of the British radio stations that it takes years sometimes, decades sometimes, to bring justice. And it does happen once you are at it. I think they were referring to the cases where people were murdered in Argentina
Yes.
and in Chile, where the
Mm-hmm.
dictator um,
Yeah.
who killed Salvador Allende, what's his name again? He was the military.
Pinochet.
Pinochet.
Yeah.
Pinochet was arrested, charged, put on trial, and he died in jail.
An old
And
man.
an old
In his
man, he
90s, they
died.
grabbed him. Yeah.
Exactly. So that can happen. So let it be a warning to those who think that they can get away with injustices in this country, that it will be severe when the time comes, and the time is near. So
Very near.
my call to those people who are interested, especially our members who are listening to us, don't be afraid to write to us. You have they can write to us on these numbers, WhatsApp number,
Yes. Correct.
and let us know. And we will have to have people permanently on this campaign, working
Correct.
every single day to mobilize people to get their names listed and to get. I know how to run campaign, comrade. I can run an
You
international
surely can.
campaign.
Oh,
Yes, I
yes.
can. I know this like tea. So I will get members of the of Congress, U.S. Congress, and senators, and European Union members to sponsor such a campaign. I am 100% sure on that. And once you have names like that, Bernie Sanders and Jeremy
Yes.
Corbyn and lots of people in Europe, putting their name to such a campaign, an international celebrity put their name to such a campaign. Some of them have already come forward to actually give solidarity and support to
Sergiana,
the
yes,
and we will have
yes.
thousands and hundreds, millions of people. By the way, before we close, I want to take the opportunity of congratulating our brother Azuddin Mohammed for making this historic step of standing
Yeah,
against this dictatorship. We wish him
yeah.
well, and we will
Of course we
collaborate with
do.
him in whatever way
That
we
that's a
can
man.
to make him successful.
Thank you so much, my brother. Because we need men who can stand without fear. That's what Guyana needs, especially in light of this one here and this situation. I would hope that Azuddin would make a statement um, to that effect to show the displeasure. I know him very well in reference to his general demeanor, and that this would not go well. This cannot go well with any right thinking Guyanese. I think that today the PPP may have lost another 20% of their support base because nobody in their right mind, no mother, no father, even Ali's wife can't tell me that she's comfortable with this nonsense that's happening here. This is insane. This is ludicrous to say the least. That you have so much evidence, real time video footage. Vindhya Prasad was there. Vindhya was, she was there. And she knew the child was not in the pool. That is why she said they're going to send for sniffer dogs. Now, y'all wake up. You don't send for dogs to sniff water. So because she knew the girl was nowhere around the pool, she said, okay, we solve this problem. We sent for the dogs. And within half an hour, the girl was discovered in the pool because they knew then that the dog would find her wherever she is. The PPP sang themselves in this situation. Because when she went on the road trying to bring calm and tell, oh, y'all, she didn't realize that when she spoke about sniffer dogs, it created the necessary alarm that dogs don't sniff water, they lose scent when it comes to water. So if Vinaya Prasad was standing right there, the Minister of Human Services and Social Security, if she stood right there, the pool is right behind her, she said, listen, I know the girl's not in the pool. So we can up the ante now. We'll bring the dogs. Just after that, took the body, pops up by the ladder, and the police could do this nonsense. Hicken needs to be honestly made to answer in a court of law. Honestly speaking, because this is
Obi,
not going to work for us.
before you go, let me repeat this what I have written. We need to have a presidential inquiry into this matter. I don't mean this president, the
Not this
next
president.
president,
I
the
promise
next
you
president,
exactly.
the next president. The president needs to establish a presidential inquiry which has constitutionally certain authority that
Yeah.
when we investigate this matter, we are not going to have Guyanese policemen and judges.
No.
We are going to have, never mind how much it costs, we are going to have experienced people from the Commonwealth, from India, from Africa, from the Caribbean, from other places as judges and experienced specialist prosecutors to
Yes.
actually, because let me say this to you, you probably haven't think it through yet, but I was thinking about this thing. Let me say this to you. I can't sleep in the night. I don't know why. I This thing is haunting me to such an extent
Me
because I
too.
keep thinking about it all the time. And because it's happening a couple of miles away from where I live and I know
Yeah.
all the players, it
Yeah.
bothers me. It bothers me.
I've hardly slept, but I haven't had 3 hours continuous sleep throughout any night since this thing happened. And this report tonight angers me even more, which is what I'm saying. There needs to be, especially in this electoral campaign period, there needs to be a consistent sounding of the voices regarding Adriana and the need. This is not even a want. The need to have the PP out of office.
And
Out.
let me add this. We have already discussed with the president of the Guyana Trade Union Congress in relation to setting up this national campaign. He has agreed in principle and some other brothers and
I
sisters.
agree. There has to be.
And yes, so what So what are we going to go? If you agree in principle, we can go ahead and start do the preliminary work. I know what needs to be done,
Of
and we
course you
need
do.
to be able to get permanent people, paid servants to actually run this campaign on a day-to-day basis. This campaign, if we run this campaign, this justice campaign for all, it will have, as you just said, it will have an impact. Tonight, they have lost more than 20% of the support that they were supposed to have.
I believe so. I believe so, Junior. No right thinking guy needs to support the PPP anymore. These people have gone beyond the limit, beyond the limit. And
I got
they
some,
showed us,
uh,
go ahead.
I got some internal information from some source inside the party that when they saw Asruddin, over 1 million people saw the
Uh, the
over a
announcement.
million. Yes, and they rushed to have an emergency. In fact, the person who sent me now, I haven't had a chance to, because we were on the program now. I haven't had a chance to open the thing they sent. Could you imagine that they had an emergency meeting?
Had to.
Yes, and this. I mean, this is just incredible, just
And now
laughable.
the police report, the so-called press statement, press release, has sunken them even deeper. So, my brother, we're going to talk. I have a long night
Okay,
ahead of me still. But
okay.
tomorrow, yeah, we will. We'll have another program. We have to have another broadcast because
Take
this
care.
is not going down like that.
So,
All right,
so could you tell?
viewers.
So could you
Yes,
announce what time we're gonna have it so they're prepared to come up?
tomorrow at 7:30 in the evening.
Okay,
All
good.
right, tomorrow at 7:30, we're going to have a conversation because we need to continue speaking to this.
Take
To all who are present, I thank you for being here with us. As usual, Brother Jenner makes his very, very critical contributions. A man with much experience and very much needed in reference to the people's movement and what lies ahead of us. You'll hear some very important announcements being made, but I would like to encourage you for us to be a part of this justice campaign. This is not about a political campaign anymore. Based on what I saw here, this has to be a justice campaign. Based on what I saw tonight, this has to be a justice campaign, not a political campaign. This is a justice campaign because for them to do this to this little girl is the limit for me. Y'all do well until I see you again. And I look forward to us having justice. Justice must be served for our daughter on the screen. Thank you all so much.